We got mom with us today because this is a Mother's Day special. Tomorrow officially is Mother's Day. Of course, you guys are already in Sunday, so you're already on Mother's Day. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring in mom because, she has a different perspective on all of the things that we talked about last time. And I kind of want to hear, I don't know, just kind of want to hear where she comes from and want to hear her side of things. Obviously, she processes things way different than we do. So, um,
Yeah.
last time I had both of you, we talked about boot camp. And we were gonna get into ITB. I know Silas and I talked about ITB, but we're gonna redo that one just, with Caden as well. So,
We don't have to.
well, I mean, I think it would be great. I want to hear your perspective of it for sure.
Turn that mic off.
Um, At this point, let's kind of go, let's like kind of rewind. We'll go backwards into at the very, very beginning, even before boot camp, and uh just kind of like get mom's perspective on this because when it came time to go to the recruiter's office and we finally met Staff Sergeant King and all that stuff, boy, I know that I was watching mom and
Slowly dying
yeah,
inside.
she was stressing a little bit. So I'd like to kind of get her perspective, but yeah. So what do you, I don't know, let's dive into this. Let's like tell me your side of things. What were your feelings? What were your thoughts when the boys officially said, or especially Caden officially said, Dad, I know what I want to do. I want to be, I know what God wants me to do. And I was like, what's that? And he says, God wants me to be a Marine. I was like, uh-oh. So I told mom, pick it up from there.
Um, is this just supposed to be like my side of the story, or are we getting the boys' input on this section too?
Well, we can do both. I
Okay.
mean, we got their input on the last,
Oh,
like as far as boot camp is concerned, but I wanted to see, really like your perspective of things because I know me and the boys, we think very similarly in that stuff.
mhm.
And having a woman's perspective, and especially a mom's perspective of their own boys, their own men going into the Marines, it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear what your thoughts were.
Mhm. I think so. I've had a high school senior 3 years in a row, and for each of those 3 years that I've had a high school senior, um, I think there is an unnecessary amount of stress on high school seniors that they've got to have it all figured out because everyone is asking what their plans are after graduation. Um, and if you're 17 or 18, most of the time you don't have the rest of your life figured out yet. So I have felt that with all three of you that senior year can feel like this, oh no, I have to have a plan. I have to know exactly what I want to do as an adult um, because everyone's asking. So that has been similar with all three, but also very different. Um, Silas, right away, like there wasn't even really a question. We knew college classroom wasn't what he was created for. He needed to be able to physically move his body during the day. So he, just so interested in the electrical world and right away received a paid internship. So that was like every time a kid like makes a decision with what they're going to move into, it feels like this, like, okay, like check that off. Um, so then during Caden's senior year, um, I think you boys have very individual strengths. And because you're so close in age and because of the way you grew up, I think a lot of times people see you as like one unit. Um, but it's just so obvious how you have different strengths. I think Caden probably could have had the ability to sit in a classroom Whereas I'm not so sure, that would have been the right thing for Silas. I think Caden is just better at like sitting still. He always has been. Um, but he never voiced any desire or plan or a need for a college education. But we've also been firm believers in you need to be pursuing something. We're not going to just sit and wait until we have some awesome idea. So um, I know that Caden, his senior year, also kind of felt that pressure and that stress. And I really thought like he could be the engineer. He could get an electrician internship again. He could work for you. Yeah, like I was thinking like like I was thinking fully assuming his decision would be super conventional. Um, I know like even like in Silas's like junior high years, he had been approached about West Point
Hmm.
from West Point grads and asking him to pursue this. And, it was always like, oh, no, like, why would I do that?
I think
There,
he was even sponsored to go and like you weren't you sponsored by the one dude? He was like, he's the guy who gave you that check coin or the challenge coin, and he was gonna sponsor you.
so it's not like
Yeah.
it was never part of the conversation, but whenever it came up, it was always like oh, like, why would I do that? Like, it almost felt like that's last resort. Like, you go to the military if you're not smart enough, or you go to the military if you're a bad kid that needs to be straightened out, or you go to the military if you're just hopeless and have nothing else. It's like I just felt like it was never like an exciting conversation for between us and the boys. Um, so it was never on my radar because it was never a conversation. And then I think it was November of 2024. Caden was working a wedding reception in the kitchen, slicing lemons. Is that
Yeah.
correct? And I was just living my peaceful, comfortable, um, adrenaline rush free life at home late on a Saturday night, waiting for him to get done work at like midnight. And you got a text,
Yep.
and all it said was,
Dad, I know what I'm supposed to do.
Dad, I know what I'm supposed to do.
I'm like,
And so
what are you talking
he shared this with me. We're like, what in the world is he talking about? Like, it was just so vague. What does that mean? Like, you know what you're doing at your job? You know what time you're coming home? Um, and then I think maybe you texted him back and said, like, what are you talking about? And he said, I know what I'm supposed to do when I graduate. And so I was like, awesome. Like, yes, cross the next kid off the list. Like, now the second one has it all figured out. Um, and it was just exciting. Like, we just couldn't wait till he got home from work and told us all. And so I think we all stayed up late. I don't know. Caden drove home at midnight or something.
hmm
And
Well, I think you texted me because I said, well, what are you supposed to do? And I think you texted me and um, God wants me to go into the Marines or something like that. I don't think we waited until he got home for him to
okay.
tell us, but we definitely waited until you got home to talk about it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so you told us that you were praying about it while you were slicing lemons at work, and that you very clearly heard God say you're supposed to be a Marine. And then you had instant peace. I could see it in your eyes when you walked in the door that night. The pressure was gone. And you were not only willing to walk into that, you were excited and you were relieved and like no question whatsoever. So I think I kind of maybe like rolled my eyes at you, kind of like, well, like you're gonna like we're not doing this, he'll die.
You're
So
going to talk him out of
we're
it.
gonna talk him out of this later. It's just a phase. And
And do you remember what I said?
no.
I don't
Because
remember what you said.
you do.
I
What?
don't
Oh, you don't?
know.
Yeah, because mom was like, you're going to talk him out of this. I'm like, I can't, you cannot talk him out of something like a calling like this. Because I remember specifically like thinking, there's no way I cannot take this away from him.
So we were sitting around late that night talking about it,
Hmm.
and I don't remember putting up a stink because I didn't want to bust his bubble.
Hmm.
But as he was saying this, Silas walked into the room and overheard it. And all I heard from behind me was like a very muffled, oh no. And you're all like, what in the world's wrong with you? And you said how years before you had told God, if you want me to join the military, just call Caden and I'll know that that's my cue. And I remember in that instance, like maybe I don't know that I was mad, but just like probably just overwhelmed. And I thought, like I didn't know anything about enlisting, um, but it just felt very overwhelming to me. And then I think it was like the next week, maybe it was a super cold but rainy night when we finally had that appointment
Yeah.
in the office. And I just sat quietly, like on that. I think there was like a little couch or something in the office as, you know, the boys were given all the details and they were very strongly instructed that night with Staff Sergeant King that you're not signing papers tonight, you're not going to war tonight, like sleep on this, give it a couple days. And we got home that night and the boys were more excited than ever.
I
That was
agree.
like the fire was lit.
Yeah.
Staff Sergeant King was the coolest person we've ever met. He was just like a big presence,
Hmm.
funny, um, just such a cool guy. And we went to bed that night and I cried 4 hours in bed. Just soaked my pillow, just so upset. But I think it was just me processing it. I don't think I was really,
Yeah.
angry that they were so adamant about this. I think it just was so surprising because it was never a topic of conversation. So I think it was just my way of I just needed time to process it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then once we process through that stuff, because I mean, it didn't take me very long to process through it.
Yeah, you were on
I think
board
I was just all
immediately.
excited. Yeah, I was on board immediately, but these are your babies, going leaving the nest.
And I think it was different for you too because it was the one thing that you had always so badly wanted to do and you
Yeah,
were not allowed to do it.
that's right.
So I think in a weird way, you weren't living vicariously through them. You've never been that kind of a dad,
Hmm.
but you were sharing in that excitement.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I guess I'm not necessarily like, I don't know if I wasn't allowed to as much as it was just always kind of talked down upon, like, don't, like recommended, don't ever, like, you're going to be walking into the world of evil if you go into the military. And I think it was just always packaged in a very, negative way. So I don't necessarily recall not being allowed to, but I think yeah, I think I just ate up that message that my dad gave me that, it was an evil place and don't join the military.
Which now we know it really is.
And yeah, there's just a lot of darkness. I mean, it is. But the thing is, like, I think that, the beauty is in a world of darkness, they need men like you guys that are, a shining light. And,
Yeah. Boys, do you want to add anything to what I said or do you want to make corrections if your memory is different?
or do you want to ask questions to mom?
I mean, I don't really think I can add anything to what you said. I think you kind of nailed it.
Okay.
None of the information was incorrect. Uh, yeah, yeah, I don't have anything to add. It was good.
Saucy.
Um, yeah, I agree with Caden. It was all yeah, you definitely nailed it for sure. Um, oh man. Yeah.
Well, I think like, so once we got past that stuff, like at the very beginning, and I guess I'm curious, Megan, like as we kind of progressed into the pulley stage. So once you guys started going, like every Saturday, you would go to PT in Reading. Um, like what were your thoughts or feelings as they were getting closer and closer to boot camp, up to that point prior to them leaving? Like, what were your feelings and thought processes?
I think, and I know like you and I have discussed this many times. I don't know that actually the boys are fully aware of this, so
Mhm.
we might be sharing secrets here. But I think it all of a sudden felt like a ton of pressure on us. Like we had to make sure you were ready for boot camp. Like, like I never realized that guys who enlist in the military are coming in all different stages of character development and athletic abilities. I just felt like, oh, you just better impress the drill sergeants at Paris Island from day one. Like, what do we do to have to get you there?
Correction. Drill instructor.
Drill instructors, sorry, drill instructors. Thank you. So I think I remember just feeling like just like being like very aware of um like yeah, I don't know, like did somebody push themselves as hard in the gym or it like all of a sudden felt like we had to make sure that they were ready, that I
Hmm.
didn't want to like hand off my offspring that were unprepared.
Yeah,
um but at that time the only thing that I could fathom that any way that you would possibly be unprepared would be physically
yeah.
because I was so
Naive.
yeah, just uneducated
I mean,
about
how could we know? Like,
what
that's the
to do.
thing is we didn't listen. We had nobody in our lives except for one family that was even associated with the Marines, and we didn't know, right? So, and all we heard from them was the fitness aspect. So we never really even heard about the like any of the other, you know, stuff really, like the mind games or the mental stuff, the hardships, that go beyond physical. So we didn't know, and therefore it was like, yeah, mom's right. Like we wanted to do everything we could do to make sure that you were physically fit. And
Yeah.
and when you,
I think too for us, like it was more just fear of the unknown because we didn't know what to expect.
right,
And so I think it was maybe more just like just that apprehension, the fear of the unknown, not knowing,
right.
yeah, would you break your ankle on week 9 and you'd never graduate? And one would graduate and the other one wouldn't, and then we'd make 2 trips down and like,
Yeah.
just all the unknown.
So much. Yeah.
Would there be some test that you wouldn't pass? Like you in some of your letters writing home, you would tell us about like guys in your platoon that were just dropped.
Yeah, they're
Like,
just getting dropped.
not just held back, like just dropped. So it was just that constant, you know, just waiting for the updates and praying that they like made it to graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah, those letters that oh, sorry, Silas, go ahead. What were we gonna say?
No, I was just thinking like when we were like I know this is a while ago, but like when we were at boot camp, um, like mom, what would you do to like try to get your mind off of like us being there. Because like for us being there, it really wasn't that hard. Like looking back, it was just more fun. But I think we made it like since like we as a family, or especially you guys never saw us go through something like that.
Yeah.
So like what would you do to like cope, like to like just get your mind off of like us joining this like this thing and going through the things we were doing
Good
and
question.
all of that.
I'll let you know when I have it figured out. No, okay, so I think there were so many ways that you were not prepared at all. Um, like character wise, I didn't have concerns about that. Like physical fitness, I didn't have concerns about that. Um, being willing to obey and follow instructions. I wasn't worried about that. I think so like um I think just like this doesn't just pertain to the military. Just like in almost every other walk of life, the job itself, the job description isn't too hard. Yes, it's challenging, it's highly respected. America wouldn't be here today without thousands and thousands filling that job description. I'm not talking about the job. It's the people that have been the hardest. And I feel like there has never been a low point that you've called home or texted or written a letter saying, I just can't possibly run another mile, or I just can't possibly make my bed one more day, or I just can't possibly respect my chain of command. You've never once had a problem with that. It is you are suffering every time someone else screws up. And you have never experienced that before. You've been pushed in your like birth to 18 years old. You've been pushed physically and academically, but you've never been disrespected during it. So those are two very different things. And so that is definitely there's a resilience that comes along with being bullied at public school. There just is. It's like and if you've never experienced someone despising you for absolutely no reason, or you're constantly daily suffering because somebody else made some stupid ass mistake. You've never experienced that in your entire life until this past year. And that can be mentally draining. And I think that's what I've seen. I think it's also a blessing and a curse how close the five of us are. Because you think through who's in your platoon right now and who is so happy to be out of home or away from a parent or away from an abusive uncle, or, oh, I finally have a roof over my head and 3 solid meals.
Or I don't have to go to jail.
Yes, or it was this or jail.
Yeah.
But when you are so close with your family, you weren't escaping something. So many of the guys in your platoon have joined the Marines as a way of escape.
Or to find a family.
And you have not. And there is a huge difference in how that affects you emotionally. Is if you've joined the Marines to walk into something or to run away from something.
Yeah. So going back to this question, how did you cope with how did you cope with that? How did you personally cope with knowing that they were now being introduced to a brand new dimension of struggle that we could never imagined before? when you're home and you're waiting for that next letter to come in the mail, and like there could be 2 days before the next letter or 2 weeks before the next letter, and you're just in the waiting game. How did you personally, what did you do to distract yourself or cope through that to keep yourself from going insane?
I think having control is very deceiving. So once you like cross the finish line of the crucible and you officially became a Marine, it was in that same moment that I lost all parental rights and you officially became government property. So there is a lot there was a line that was drawn. When you become a Marine officially, you are government property. We have no parental rights anymore. And so I think well, I've spent a lot of years disassociating from a lot of things.
Yeah,
So I'm not saying that that's a healthy way of coping, but
that was your coping mechanism.
I either disassociated, but there were, you know, long days where it felt like we were not allowed to have fun if we knew they were suffering.
Yeah.
Like I remember when you shipped last year on May 13th, you arrived in Paris Island either middle of the night, Tuesday night, or 2 a.m. Wednesday morning. Thursday night of that week, Paisley had prom, and she did not want to go because she just kept saying, I cannot go. I'm freshly showered. I did my hair. I've got this gorgeous new dress, and I'm going to go party with all of my friends while my brothers are still in the clothes that I saw them in on Monday. They haven't eaten and they haven't slept, and they're sitting on a concrete floor somewhere.
Yeah.
So that was really hard to be like, okay, but that's them. This was their choice. They're living their life. Now, what do we want to do? It felt like if we knew you were suffering,
Mm-hmm.
it felt wrong to make plans or go out to eat or be happy in any way. It just felt like we were betraying you somehow.
Yeah, it was a very strange feeling because, I mean, yeah, it's hard to explain, but you did a great job explaining it. It's just a strange feeling of like if they're going through something hard, I need to be going through something hard. If you guys are gonna get strong, I need to get strong. If you're gonna like go through hell, I need to go through hell. Like I can't be left out of this. That's how my brain was. They're going, well, like how can we do anything fun? It's not like they're being left out, but it's the fact like how can we do anything fun when you guys are suffering so much? And I'm like, well, how can I like not go through hell if they're going through hell? Like I need to be suffering with them, all that stuff. It was just a strange like thought process.
Yeah. Dad, I think it's that was great for you because I think it if we didn't do that, obviously you have a choice whether or not you're gonna push yourself like in all areas of life because of me and Katie joining the Marine Corps. But at the same time, like, that you chose to like push yourself in certain areas. If you didn't want to work out in the morning, you just go out in the garage anyway and lift some weights, get weight, like, get some uh cardio in or whatever, and you chose to eat healthier, or you'd be like, oh, today, like, I'm out work all day, serving other people through like that, the business of yours. You're like, and you don't really have an option to go get food. You're like, I was fast today. Like if the boys did that, then
Yeah.
I can do that. And that was great for you. You could just push through.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know. I think there's even for you guys, there's a whole mindset shift that needs to happen. And that's like we all get a job to serve a group of people or like um a certain crowd to like help make their job easier. There's obviously like a need that needs to be fulfilled. And the military is just another way to serve. Your job doing handyman like stuff, you're serving those people in that house. Mom, your new job now is like serving that group of moms that like want, or that crowd, that category of people. You're serving them um in that area. And so it's like we're in the military and we serve in this area. And so it's like with every job there's hards and there's easy times. Um but I feel like it's just like yeah, it's a mindset shift. Sure, there's hard things that come with every job, and that's just how it is. Um
So well, let me back up and clarify. I no longer have that thought process
Neither do I.
anymore. That
yeah.
was more like while you guys were at boot camp. Every time somebody comes up to me asking how you are and they are in a panic, I always say, you have to remember they were not drafted. They picked this.
Mhm.
So that I think has helped other people kind of like grasp the concept of somebody's desperate to be
Somebody
held
is
down. He's going to
desperate.
interrupt the whole thing.
He just wants to be
Because
part
it's
of
his
this.
bedtime, so
Yeah.
he needs to fall asleep with Dad now. And another thing, like I'm asked probably multiple times every week, are they okay? Are the boys okay? Are the boys safe? And I feel like I don't even want to say this because I feel like I'm like jinxing something, even though I don't believe in jinxing things. But I tell everyone that asks me this, I say to them, you have to remember that my dad was killed while he was trying to play golf. So if the boys have been specifically, clearly called into this job, this role, then they are not safer home with me.
Right.
I told somebody else, I said it's a very uh-oh. Are we gonna
Second.
get interrupted?
You know what? Now's a great time to now's a great time to
Okay.
Oh.
Now's a great time to what?
jump onto the other link.
Has it already been 40 minutes?
We're almost at 40 minutes. We're at 35 minutes already. No, you're not talking
Okay.
by any means. But is that water?
Yeah, it's water.
Nice. No, we got 5 minutes until this kicks us out, and then we can jump on to the next
Yeah.
link.
Honestly, I'm just beyond grateful that I joined the military because like yeah, like back home, home life was like a 10 out of 10 compared to most other people. Like we had it really good. And during that time of being home, I don't think I really saw that we had it that good. So I wasn't content in a lot of areas. I thought I was being content and like a good boy in that area because I was like, yeah, like, I have it good. And I only saw it in like a couple areas of life. But like once I got out of that, then it was like, man, like I got to come home to a homemade meal that was like really fresh and freaking filling. Like I could just eat constantly
Yeah.
and be full. And I was hanging out with like even if like you got home work from late, still got to hang out, like still
Yep.
got to see each other in person every day without a doubt. And still whenever I needed something, it was like, Dad, I need your help, or Mom, I don't know what to do in this situation. Like, can you help me out? And that's like the stuff I took for granted. I didn't, um, and now I see that. So I
Yeah.
feel like God kind of blessed us in that area of like, you're gonna join the military. So you
Yeah.
can look back and be like, man, like, thank you for all that. Like that was a blessing. And, some things I truly miss. I just freaking miss being in the gym 8 hours a day. just training and training and training and working out and, you know, just eating a lot and doing all that stuff. But now, like, we can still do that. It's just we also have a very like a really cool job now that, yeah, sure, like, you know what? That's just part of like growing up. Like
That's right.
you have to get a job at some point. And I'm really glad that this is our job. We get to do really cool things and serve our country. And you know, we have amazing leaders that are helping us become better men. So that when we get out, we're going to be better men for not only, you know, ourselves, but for our possible future families and the people around us. When it comes to serving them, and now anything seems possible. Like, sure, you need help freaking like doing mulch at your house. Yeah, I'll be over this afternoon, like after church. Like, let's go. Bring my wheelbarrows, bring my truck. Like, that's easy. That easy day. I get to come home to a meal and come home and be with my family. Like, that's an ideal day. Now, like anything seems possible
Yeah.
after doing this job. So, like, sure, there's some days that are hard. You know what? There was days also that were hard at home, like not having a mission all the time. Sometimes just sitting in my bed doing nothing. Sure, I can go play Xbox or go for a run or go back to the gym. But like, and now there's always a mission. There's always a reason to like be studying, and there's always a reason to just be like working better at your job because the people around you are relying on you.
Hmm.
So it's like, then that's awesome. Like, you know, there's, you know, you guys are obviously our first family, but you know, I didn't see it at first. Like, you build a family outside, you know, in the Marine Corps, just wait, like the brotherhood's gonna be insane. I didn't really see that through boot camp, you know, because you're mixed with a bunch of just freaking losers and lazy guys.
Yeah.
And like to those guys, you know, it's really cool because there's like so many people that are better than me and above me and like all that stuff. But most of those guys in boot camp, you know,
Yeah.
they're they're gonna be behind a computer desk for the rest of their life. Like in the Marine Corps, probably out of the Marine Corps as well. They're not gonna like being in the infantry, like I'm not gonna name any MOSs or anything like that. Um, and I'm not trying to like, you know, speak for any government uh higher person in the government. Nothing like that. But it's just like being in the infantry, we get to be out in the woods. Like I was telling my dudes the other day, like literally, and they were like, "Hey, how you doing? We're out in the field doing some stuff." And they were like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, honestly, like there's no other place I'd rather be right now. I'm out in the woods with my boys, soaking wet, retired, like got nothing to eat besides freaking MREs. And I'm like, there's no other place I'd rather be right now. And I know when I'm out of the Marine Corps, I'm be like, man, I'd do anything for one more field op with the boys.
Oh man.
Like, you know, that struggle is like you have to focus on like the now, right? Most people want to get to the destination. Most people just want like I just want that, you know, I just want to be graduated in that, or I just want to make that amount of money. I just want to be there. I just want to have that nice car or whatever like the goal is.
Hmm.
Um, but like a lot of people tend um just not live in the present. Like the now, the process and the journey is like the goal, like the key. Like it is like the gold because it's like this is how like I'm being transformed right now. Like I'm being changed. I'm becoming better.
That's
And
right.
that process alone is like worth it. If you were just to be able to skip the journey and get to the destination, there would be no satisfaction.
Yeah.
But you go through the journey and then get to the destination, and then you can look back and be like, just have the memories of like, man, like, yeah, we did that. Like that was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you know, not trying to be weird at all, but like,
I think what
yeah,
you, dude,
the journey is what makes it worth it.
I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. One of the things that I have learned in my life, and you're speaking this concept that I have just been learning in my life that the process is the product.
Mhm.
Like the thing that we long for, we think it's the goal, like that end goal. It's not the end goal. Like because once the goal is achieved, what do you always do? Like you shoot for something else. And I
And
think
that's like,
it's the
yeah.
process of becoming that is so addictive.
Hmm.
And you guys are in that forging process. This sounds like really strange, but at least to me it sounds strange. It might not sound strange to you. But on a daily basis, multiple times a day, I am like, like I just wish I was going through something difficult like you guys were going through because I feel like I have in my 43 years there I'm like having to make up for lost time in a sense and I feel like I have so much to give. I'm like I wish the government would just hire me as a 43-year-old to just be like, listen, I mean, I got the brains for it. I've got like probably the endurance for it. I'm like, let's freaking go. Just, like don't draft the absolute like sissies of today. Like if there's going to be a draft, make sure you draft like menopausal women and like middle-aged men who are ready to pick up their guns and just absolutely like unleash hell on the enemy. Because the older I get, the more patriotic I get, the more loyal I get, the more honest I get, the more like I do not give a crap about what anybody thinks. And I'm like, you know what? Like, just send me. Like, I'm like, all right, Lord, here am I. Send me. Like, I will pick up my weapons and go. And that's like, I just feel like on a daily basis, I feel like that. And I'm just
Yeah.
in this great mode of like, boy, just forge me, send me into something. And that's why I think like maybe I should really pick up like jujitsu or something just so I can like beat the crap out of somebody.
Yeah, yeah. I'm totally for that. I think also like even if you're in the military, you can still have the 9 to 5 mindset
Yeah.
because that 9 to 5 is like that 9 to 5 mindset is an actual thing. When people are like, you have a job behind a desk like a Dow, and you saw it, right?
Oh yeah.
You were living a 9 to 5,
Hmm.
essentially, right? Your hours were obviously different,
Yeah.
but you were living a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But your mindset was different than all the other guys. Oh yeah, just Monday to Friday. Just make it through. Just skate through. Just do the least amount of work and just call it a day.
Yeah. Thank God
And
it's
people,
Friday and oh God it's
right,
Monday.
right. Like frick that like mentality. Like, and even here, a lot of guys have that. They're like, I'm just gonna skate through, they're just going through the motions. They're not putting out a PT. They're not like putting out their job. They're not studying all day. They'd rather be playing Xbox or, than conquering the world. Like,
Yeah.
but no, like sure, we live a 9 to 5, but like you can get out of that mindset and you can switch. Like, heck yeah, it's freaking Monday. Like,
That's
it's
right.
Monday.
I
Like
like that.
God gave me another week.
Hmm. Monday's
And,
beautiful.
sure, like can't be with my family right now, but at least I can call them and
Right.
FaceTime them. You can still talk like, what'd you do today? Like anything weird happened, anything fun happened. Cool. All right. Love you guys. Goodbye. Like, and then just call like, later. And it's like a lot of people just don't do that.
Hmm.
Probably like yeah, it could be just how they grew up in their past. I don't really like using that as an excuse because, you know, either or if you were like if you were if you grew up in a perfect home or a perfect close to perfect home, like this is still gonna be hard because this is very imperfect home. Like there's sometimes with parenting issues here, right? With chain of command. Sometimes there's like the children are button heads and it's like this is an imperfect home but we can for sure like help to make it better and kind of um just like shine light on something that was unseen before so it like opens everybody's eyes and then it's like oh and the mindset shift.
Yeah.
Some people are just lazy and they don't feel like changing their mindset, they just stay in their ways and they're always and forever going to be that terminal lance corporal. It's like,
Yeah.
I had a
but
conversation just this past week with a coworker of mine. And we were talking about how there's really I'm not saying this in a critical way. So whoever's going to watch this, who could possibly right now be in your chain of command or is in your future chain of command, this is not meant to be critical. But there's no biblical emphasis on anything in the Marine Corps. And we were talking about how there was a large generation, like your generation, that didn't enlist. So now the next generation is serving where there's no there are no other believers. There's no believers around you. So I said, if your generation had had a generation of believing men who had enlisted, how it would have changed the trajectory for while this generation
That's
is
correct.
enlisted. So you serving now, you are already making an impact for the next generation,
Yep.
maybe of like other kids that grew up in church that somewhere along the line they have a better chance of coming across somebody on a deployment that could just say, hey, I'll pray with you. You know, because right now, like that's never been really a part of your military experience right now, and that's okay. But if the generation before had enlisted,
Yep.
how much that would have changed this current generation enlisting.
Yeah, it would have changed a lot. I think for sure. Like, I know me and Silas struggle to find like some good Christian dudes just to actually just like talk about stuff.
Mm.
Because and like I personally haven't like found anybody besides him where I can just like sit down and then either just pray for someone or just talk about stuff or do some studies or something. Because when you hang out with somebody or when you hang out with people for so long and they've never even like had any sort of like relationship with Christ in their life, their mindset is so different. And the more and more that I hang out with them, I wanna continue to be just trying to share the love of Jesus,
Mm.
but also I feel like it goes both ways where like I feel like I'm giving a little bit of piece of myself and they're giving me a piece of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So my brain gets twisted a little bit. And
Yep.
I think we were talking about it a couple of days ago, Dad. Like somebody does like me wrong or something happens, the first thing in my brain is like, all right, let's beat him up. Let's do something that's gonna actually make him think about what he's done.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, yeah, let's just pray about him. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I forgot that was an
Now,
option.
yeah,
Like
and to be clear, there is a time and place for both. You know,
correct.
sometimes there is a time and place to be dangerous and to forcefully put somebody in their place.
Yeah.
In that moment that you're specifically in that moment that you're talking about, the best thing that we could have done is just literally covered them in the blood of Jesus Christ.
Right.
It's like knowing the difference between the two.
And
Yeah.
remembering that they're both options.
Yes, and remembering that's exactly right. Remembering that they are both options for sure. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that like I look at all the stuff that you guys are dealing with and I'm like, I love it. I love that you're like you call me up and you're just having such a hard day or a bad day or something, you know, something happened and you know, you're getting messed up by your seniors and all that stuff. And I don't tell you this, but deep down inside, I'm like, good.
Yeah.
It's about freaking time. Because the thing is, like, I love that you are being forged. Like you cannot accidentally become a weapon.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, you got to quench it every once in a while or put it in the fire.
Yeah, when you have to get hammered out, right? Like when God, like I specifically see God as a blacksmith. He's like the greatest blacksmith, and he is taking the Caden sword,
Mm.
right? And he's taking this lump of metal and he is like purging it into the heat, pulls it out, and he grabs his hammer and he's just whacking and hitting like and banging out the shape of who like the weapon that you are being forged into. And it's not an easy job, and it's very intentional. You think about like a blacksmith, every strike of that hammer is extremely intentional. Everything that God has put you through is so intentional. That's why I'm looking at this going, yes, I love this, that you are going through this kind of hell because the men that you're becoming on the other side of it, I can't even imagine how great you guys are going to become. I can already see in just 1 year, like the amount of growth and the amount of like just manliness that you guys have adopted, but you haven't lost sight of what's true.
Can I read
Yeah.
a quote?
Yeah.
I just found this quote this week and I thought it was perfect. It says, somewhere along the way, we made Christianity about staying safe
Mm,
instead of being sent.
mm.
Jesus did not say, build small lives and protect them carefully. He said, go.
Oh man,
Yep.
that is awesome.
Wow.
And you guys went.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's bring this back to like the Mother's Day thing for a second.
All about me.
Well, but I do want, like, if there are people listening, like, I know that there are other Marines who are going to be watching this and listening to this from a mom's perspective, like, from the voice of such a beautiful person. Like, what would you like to say on behalf of all mothers or whatever that are moms of Marines? Like, what would you like to just express to them right now?
Well, I think I should have been prepped for that.
You really should have. I was just thinking like I'm really sorry, but I
Yes.
just kind of thrust that upon
This
you.
is not an answer to your question, but I think I thought all along the hardest part for me would be you making lifestyle choices that do not reflect my values. And that's not the hardest part. You have both made decisions. You have both made actions that have absolutely appalled me. And I'm sure I don't even know half of what you've done. I thought that would be hard, and it's not hard. The hard part is the hardest parts, more so than you choosing to do something on a weekend that I would never approve of, or more so than me knowing you're handling weapons or you're being deployed, and I know your safety has just been jumped to a higher risk. That's not the hardest part. The hardest part for me personally are the days when I know you do not have the joy of the Lord and there is no peace. Those are the only hard days because I don't categorize safety. Everyone and their freaking mother is worried about your safety.
Yeah.
Nobody calls me or texts me to ask how Paisley is doing and is she okay. Her job, statistically speaking, is 100 times more dangerous than your job. but nobody thinks of it that way. They think of military, war, weapons. You must be in the greatest danger. Statistically speaking, you aren't. So I don't worry as much for your safety, or I am actually kind of glad that you have chosen to do things that I don't approve of, because I'd rather you try it now and learn and make the decision for yourself where your own personal conviction lies. I'd rather you do that now before you have a wife and 3 kids.
Hmm.
That doesn't bother me. The hardest thing for me is the days, because it's not every day, but they're the days when I know you are burdened and you are not full of the joy of the
Like
Lord.
something's eating you up.
Yeah, I heard something on a podcast, I think on my way to work the one morning, that said and I don't agree with this 100%, but I thought it was funny. A mother's happiness depends on her most miserable child.
There is
So
some truth in there.
my
I think.
I think people assume that my identity, because I had 3 kids in a span of 2.5 years, and I stayed at home and I homeschooled you, I think most people assume um, that I want you super attached to me, or that in some way I've raised mama's boys,
Hmm.
and I haven't. I don't.
No way. You have not. Yeah.
You have turned into better friends of mine than I could ever imagine, and the respect level that I hold for each of you for very different reasons could never be diluted.
Hmm.
And I miss you terribly, but I don't wish you were home, because I know you've stepped out into obedience and you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And I don't wish you were here right now.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to be here, but I'm not wishing you were here right now, because I know you're where you're supposed to be. And there's so much peace that comes along
Yeah.
with that.
That's right. Yeah. Trusting God in this type of thing is, well, trusting God in general is the best solution, is the best option, right? But it helps, like in this type of scenario, it brings that greatest peace when it's like, listen, I trust him. I know that he's got you guys. I know he's taking care of you. I know he is directing you through this pathway that you're headed on. And I know that he is like nudging you here and nudging you there. And he's like, you know, he is helping you navigate through the tough.
Yep.
He's not keeping you from it. He's helping you navigate through it. I think that's really powerful.
This morning, I freaking not trying to change the subject at all.
No, that's okay.
About what you said, Mom, like trying to hold back tears. Um, but this morning I clicked Job like on my Bible app, like Job chapter 33, and I hit play, and it completely like glitched and just played Proverbs chapter 3,
Mm,
and I was like, what the heck? Like what it said chapter 3 or something like that, and I was like, that's weird, and it was going through Job 33, but I was like, the words that like the that it was coming from the Bible, I was like, that was exactly what I needed. And it was
wow.
definitely not just, it was not a glitch. So it was Job chapter, I mean Proverbs chapter 3 that I was playing. I was trying to play Job chapter 33. And it said, as soon as it started, it said, my son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. For the length of days and years of life and peace they will add to you. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. So you find favor and good success in the sight of God and man. God and man. And then it was like, it goes into like trust the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. And it just from there, I was like, boom. Like us as men of God, especially, we make it so much harder because we lean on our own understanding.
Yeah.
Mm.
You
And
know,
you're taught
we're
to.
lazy. Yeah, we're lazy because we're thinking about the process of how, like, of the process of going to the outcome and getting the outcome instead of just thinking about the payoff instead, right? We're lazy because we know, oh man, we're gonna have to do all this and this and this and this and this and every step of the way. So we don't do it. But instead, if we like, and that's just a habit, like this is just a mindset habit. But if we switch that and just think the payoff,
Yeah.
and then you actually just think like how great that's going to be, and then you just start doing it. And you don't even think about the process of getting there.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, I lean on my understanding a lot. So I just wanted to share that.
So that's a great thing that you're learning because mom and I have talked about this where how we parented you guys, we always kept saying with the end in mind. Like that's like that kind of theme just shows up with the end in mind. Because you're right, you can get bogged down in the weeds of the daily like struggle. But if you know that, hey, if I look at the end, what do I want what kind of relationship do I want with my children when I'm old and my children's children? And when you start to map out like what that looks like, it really helps you to determine the decisions you make today to hit that like payoff. So that was cool.
Yeah.
I also really like how like it's no mistake and it's no surprise to God that you are each other's only physical spiritual encouragement right now in your current situation, and he keeps taking you
Yeah.
apart for a certain amount of time, days, weeks, months, and then he's allowing a season, whether that's a day or a week or months, back together for like a renewal, like a recharging. And then he is going to
Separate you again.
separate you again. So I think I just really like how it's like a gentle challenge and easy for me to say because I'm not there, I'm not living in it. But the fact that I think it has been also really good for you to not always 24/7 have each other to rely on,
Yeah,
but
I
that
agree.
he always brings you back together.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Definitely like a fingerprint.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to your buddies, um, like does anybody talk about their moms or dads? I mean like
They all had moms. They didn't have dads.
oh
So
yeah,
they're like all like, oh man, like I was doing this for my mom or whatever. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna go call my mom real quick. But nobody talks about their dads because most of them had really bad dads
yeah.
that just went off the deep end or got into affair with another woman or did drugs or was an alcoholic and is like in jail.
Hmm.
Like that is most of the time, like I'd say 90% not in the picture.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I mean, same goes for the guys in my platoon. Like, I never really thought that like how bad it could get and how good that I had it, because I would just be talking and explaining like about like home life or whatever, like what was I doing before the Marine Corps, you know, and then it would come topic like of like family and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like super close to all my family, and like, I call them probably, you know, once every day or once every other day, whatever, and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, and they're like, I haven't. I like called my mom for like months and months. I'll text her and be like, "Yep, I'm here, I'm good," and then she'll text me like, "Okay." Like it's like they don't even have like a relationship. And then I was talking to one of my other guys, and he's like, he'll go on like YouTube, and he found this dude on Instagram or YouTube or whatever of just like a how to do stuff because his dad never taught him anything,
Wow.
never taught him to throw a ball, throw a football, nothing. Never taught him to do anything. So he's always having like go on Instagram and find this like old dude who just like says, "All right, how to do this."
Yeah.
And then I'm
Um,
wow. I'm like, yeah, my dad's like taught me like basically everything I know. Same with my mom. And like, you know, I I just have it so good because they just talk about their parents being abusing to them and just like they're like, what about you? How badly did you get beat up? And I'm like, I didn't. Like dad came home from work and I gave him a hug, you know. Like
wow.
he didn't get drunk and hit me with a beer bottle. Like that's not how it was. And they're like, what about your mom? I'm like, yeah, she taught me all school, like all the way up. They're like, oh, it must have been terrible to be homeschooled. I'm like, nope, really wasn't. And then they're like, yeah, well, I bet you like wish you could have gone to regular school. I'm like, yeah, I do. But I'm able to do so much more as being homeschooled.
Mm.
And they think like they sometimes are like, so you're retarded then, like you don't know anything. And I'm like, all right, let's run a basic knowledge test right now for the 52s. I promise you I'm gonna be at the very top.
Yep.
Like,
Hmm.
Wow.
but you know,
They don't know self like with being homeschooled, like you have to be so like you just have to do stuff on your own. Otherwise, you're just not gonna make it through. Your
Self-motivated.
teacher's not like telling you to do this, this, and this. Like you actually have to just like on your own time, like you're home. You have to just on your own time conjure up some motivation or discipline to like go do it. And that like really helps with like here.
And probably also because you weren't like an iPad kid.
There's a lot of iPad kids for sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
Man.
yeah, we don't really have a lot of iPad kids in our platoon. I don't think so.
Hmm. Well, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys, especially here on the podcast. I hope that we can be an encouragement to other people. Like that's my thing through this is like, I'm sure that other Marines are going to watch it and your guys, the people that you're in your platoons with. And my goal is to be an encouragement to them and not to like bash or bust on them, by any means, because I feel like so many people can be um, harsh and rude and give you a hard time. But, you know, through this, we have a great opportunity to just really bring joy and let people kind of just in on our little family.
And the way
Yeah.
we did it, like, wasn't,
Was that perfect?
it wasn't perfect. It's just this is what it was like for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all had our problems. I mean, it's like, and like there is not one family out there that is free from issues and problems.
Exactly.
And we are no different. You know,
Yep.
we are um we have our own issues that we've worked through and all that stuff and we still do. But, through this podcast, I think my mission for this is just to take, some really cool memories or to take some really cool wisdom and ideas and thoughts and, share them among whoever wants to hear it. And sometimes it'll hit somebody in a way that they need it at that moment.
Yep.
Uh, so to all of you Marines out there listening, you're crushing it and you're doing a good job and keep up the good work and just, you know, I don't know, just keep on pushing. But I'm proud of you boys. I know you guys are doing I know you guys are breaking cycles. You may not see
Yep.
it, but I think other people see it, and they are affected by you and your influence. So stay the course.
We will.
And so from the Mother's Day, the mom.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Yeah,
Mother's
happy
Day over
Mother's
here.
Day.
Thanks, boys.
You'll be receiving your gifts soon.
Nice.
Awesome. I wish you were here, but I'm also glad you're not. Thank you for serving.
Well,
Welcome. Thanks for serving us in this area.
well, until we meet again
All
Yep.
right.
next week.
Enjoy your weekend liberty.
You guys
Yep.
might have to do the podcast without me next weekend.
Oh, that's right. Do you want us to wait?
It doesn't matter.
Aiden's gonna need his own podcast when he gets done this top secret mission
Well, yeah, I agree.
because
I mean, I think
Dub that out.
but
Dub that out.
They're not explaining where I'm going. We're going to
Okay.
a meeting.
yeah, I'm not saying where you're going, when you're going, how long you're going, because I don't know any of that.
yeah,
Because
we
I'm
know
not allowed to
nothing.
know.
So my thing is, it'll all work itself out in the wash because there's going to be times where Silas is unavailable,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then just me.
Like day school.
Yeah, then me and Caden can chat.
Yeah.
You need a sibling one too
With Pace.
for Pace
Oh
For
yeah,
sure.
we'll
to
get
on
her,
here.
get
That
her
would
in
be
it.
great.
That'd be sweet. I'd like that.
Henry. We'll do a Henry podcast.
Yeah, well, you got to see Henry a little bit.
It is
Yep.
past his bedtime. It's 9:34 here.
Oh wow.
Well,
All
then,
right.
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap it up. I don't know why I'm feeling called to just cover this in prayer right now. So let's just end it. Let's end it with a nice little benediction
Okay.
prayer. Father, we're just so thankful for you and the love that you just never not give us. I cover these boys in the blood of Jesus Christ right now and ask that you would keep them close to you and that you would just keep them from the enemy, that you would keep them clean and pure. I also pray, Lord, that you would help them to be a great uh, influence to those around them and that they can um, inspire these guys to push themselves harder than they thought. And Lord, if possible, I also pray that you would just that you would have these boys um, introduce their friends to Jesus, and Lord, that you would do a great work in these platoons that they're in, and if it's your will, that they would just be such a shining light that nobody can ignore what you're doing in them. And we thank you for loving them. We thank you for protecting them. And we ask, Lord, that you would just uh, that you would just touch everybody, even listening to this podcast right now. And we love you so much. Amen.